So, good morning, students. So, today I am going to start a new chapter of Flamingo, that is a thing of beauty, and it was written by John Keats. So, let's talk something about this one of the romantic poet in English literature, that is John Keats. So, about John Keats, you can see in the above lines that he was a kind of English romantic poet, and he was one of the main figure of the second generation of the romantic poet, you can say, along with Lord Byron and P.B. Shelley. And despite his work having been publications for only 4 years before his death, so John Keats and P.B. Shelley, along with Lord Byron, these three trios, they were a bit similar. If I say word similar, it means like their writing pattern were same, and they were actually a lover of natures. So if you look at the work of these three British romantic poets, you are going to feel the essence of natural beauty. So this is a kind of a small introduction about the poet of a thing of beauty. Now let's talk something about the theme, or you can say a kind of a central idea of this particular poem. So you can see over here that the very opening line of the poem, that is a thing of beauty, actually openly recites the very theme of the poem, you can say. And according to it, any beautiful object is always treasured in our mind, because it actually provides us eternal and everlasting joy. And you can say that the happiness that anything or any beautiful provides never fades into nothingness, but actually it multiplies manifolds, you can say, whenever it returns to our mind. So, going through this, what I mean to say is that Keats loved the beauty to that extent that he almost worshipped it, you can say. This excerpt voices the poet's eternal love for beauty. So, in this way, you can learn about the gist, or you can say the small idea about this particular poem. Now, let's start stanza wise explanation. So, I am reading lines for you all. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. Its loveliness increases. It will never pass into nothingness, but will keep a bower quiet for us, and a sleep full of sweet dreams and health and quiet breathing. So, here the poet actually speaks of the permanent nature of beautiful thing, which actually gives us eternal joy. And you can say their loveliness keeps on increasing and never fades away. And the everlasting beautiful sight, you can say, of a beautiful thing is stored in our mind or memory, you can say, and it is going to be last longer. They give us a kind of peace, just like a quiet shady place gives us a sleep full of sweet dreams. So here you can see a word bower is there. Bower is nothing but a kind of a shady place that actually gives us a kind of relaxation, that actually provides us a kind of conducive feeling, you can say. And a sound sleep results in a good health of our body and mind. It is quite obvious, and it provides us a kind of, you can say, a tranquility or a mental peace. So this is supposed to be the kind of a small explanation of these four or to first five lines, that actually the poet over here glorifies the beauty of a shady tree that actually provides us a kind of mental peace and tranquility.